I'm going to be doing a review of the Philips 4300 with the cafe, the LatteGo edition. Uh, I love this thing. I've probably brewed about 50 cups so far, and there's nothing I don't like about it. It has its own canister for water. It has the aqua filter, and then you got your bean hopper in here, and you add your, if you have your pre-ground beans, go in here. All your presets that you can have, and then for different user profiles, you can switch different users, and then you can go in and pick more drinks other than the top row that actually is already easy to press. You can get into it even further. You have more options than the Philips 32, and then it actually gives you, the Philips 32 does not give you a milk froth option, only this one does. And so far, I love everything about it. If anything does come up that I don't enjoy, I will be sure to make a comment on it, and I will edit this review as needed. But so far, in love with it. Glad I made the purchase.
No, don't work. Come on, boy.
最后的。
We got the coffee machine, tried to assemble, find out that this piece is missing. We couldn't find anywhere in the box. Everything checked, so it's missing. That's the reason we are returning this.
So here is a brief overview of the Philips 4300 coffee and latte maker. I'm going to try to cover a few things that they really just did not bring out in the paperwork or anywhere else that I could find online. So first, let's power it on. First thing it does, it heats up, and for right now you do not want any cup under here because it's actually going to purge water out. It always does a rinse every time you turn it on. Normally it runs pretty quick, and while that's warming up, I'm going to point out a couple of other things. This whole section down here, it pulls out so you can drain this area, but it also pulls out in back of there is where all the grounds end up, and also rejected coffee, which I'll talk about later. Up top here, here's where the beans go. You just pull this up and you can enter your whole beans. This hatch right here is actually for ground coffee if you don't want to use beans. There we can see it's doing its rinse right now. It doesn't push out much and it's pretty quick. Now, a note on the ground coffee. This is the measure they give you. You need to use this measure, because if you put more than this amount in there, it rejects it and it will not brew. When you use ground coffee, you cannot adjust how much coffee is used. You just one scoop, that's it. It only does single cups. So now we're loaded. The first thing you notice right here shows up in blue. That's where you change your profile. There's two by default, blue and green. If you hit a third time, it turns off profiles. That's if you're going to do like a one-off drink that you don't want your settings saved. Settings brings you to where you can adjust your hard water. It also has your standby time, stuff like that. But if you go down furthest, the measuring unit, because by default it's not on ounces, so some people might want to swap that. Now, if we go into each individual drink, just say coffee for instance, you'll see it automatically pops up there. To get the ground coffee, you actually have to go all the way to the bottom and then it automatically switches. You can adjust the amount of coffee it's going to brew, that's the water. And then the final one is you can double whatever these are. And most of them have something similar to this. If you go into cappuccino, this one you can double it, but it also adjusts, I'm sorry, you can't double it on this one, but this adjusts how much of the milk gets frothed out. Now, another thing that they didn't really bring out, they just mainly spoke about the coffee drinks, but if you go to more options, you get other beverages here, and this is where you can do your hot water if you want to do tea or something like that, or you can also do just froth the milk up, and that's great if you want to do hot chocolate or something like that. Now, in each individual drink again, you can hit settings once more, and it brings out, it gives it more detailed so you know what it's talking about. That's if you hit the settings button again. Anytime you want to go back, you just hit the back button. The milk, it goes on pretty easy. There's the actual steamer. You have to go in from the top and then push down. Don't push down too hard, but that's how you do it. You have to go up and then down. That's how it'll clock in there. So let's actually make a cup here. Now you will notice this is not a quiet coffee maker. Once we get this going, let's just make a cappuccino. So we see here, got a lot of coffee. If we go over, we can adjust how much of the water is going to go through that coffee. Then we can adjust how much milk is going to be used. And you want to look out, because if you don't have enough milk in there, it will kick an error. So I'm just going to tone that down a bit, and we'll kick it off. Now, since I had it on a profile, it saved it to the blue profile. Those adjustments I just made. And it varies what you do on here. Sometimes it'll do the milk first, Like in this case, that's what it's doing. Sometimes it does the coffee first. It varies from one to the other. So this time it's going to do the milk. And there we go, we're all done. Now I'll point out a couple other things here. First of all, right here is your water tank. And it's not that big. We were using a Insta coffee maker before, the one from Instapot. The water reservoir was much larger. But this one does have the water filter built into it to help get the best results. I also don't really like this plastic. It feels like that very porous plastic. Really would have preferred it was more like the glass plastic. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we can pull this out. You can see all the rinse waters in there, and that's where all your coffee grounds go. All that's dishwasher safe. Well, that's the brief overview of this machine. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them on the review.